The image 1 or the 2? I want every participant to participate, please. And that's my bad habit. I can say that. I don't let people sleep in my class.
Ma'am, can you ask a question once again, ma'am?
Okay, sure, sir. I have shown 2 images. This is the
Yes.
raster image. It's in the form of cells. So which image will be having the more resolution?
One.
The second one.
Second one.
Yes.
Someone has said 1 also. Some ma'am was there. Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. I cannot see your name. So it's better that first you say your name and then answer me. So I can recall you also.
Yeah, ma'am. My name is Dr. Y. Rajshekhar, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else who want to answer? Thank you, sir, for answering. Any more answers? It's a simple one.
Yes, ma'am. Second one is high resolution. Myself, Sudhakar
That is
Singh.
high resolution. Okay. I will give you an example. When you go to buy a camera, a mobile phone, you see the resolution of that. It should be higher. Higher means उसकी pixel value छोटी हो जाएंगी कि बड़ी हो जाएंगी? It will be smaller or it will be bigger. The finer the quality is, the resolution is higher, you can say. We go for a camera that is have higher resolution camera. Higher resolution means the pixel values. Here, each and everything, if I zoom this picture, you can see each and everything for that picture. So the pixel value for here, it is 320 pixels and it is 1440 pixels. So the higher pixel, the higher the resolution. So this will have having the more accurate and better quality image. If we zoom that image, the image will not Detroit. So the sir has answered second. That is perfect. Correct. Second format is vector data format. In the first, we have seen the cell-wise representation were there. In the second, that is a vector data format. In this, line representation are there. Here we see everything on the basis of the line. Where we see the line in the steel stores, in the streets, land uses, or if you say like nowadays there are GPS systems in the we have Google Maps, so that shows the line, that is called the vector files. Highly precise applications are there, file size little bit higher is there, but they are important, each and everything are important. Then we go for the vector representation. So here is a quick revision of that. In the raster, we go for cell wise, and in the vectors, we go for the line wise representation. So now comes what is remote sensing. Hope till here we have discussed what is GIS and what are the different forms of data. Now it comes the remote sensing. Anybody, those who have an idea of remote sensing before moving further? Actually, the classification was there. Then what is remote sensing doing here? Some an idea. It's not that you are always correct. It's that you are sharing your thoughts, and we are gaining from that. Anybody can volunteer themselves. Anybody?
Madam, you can say it is a phenomenon. It is a phenomena without having the physical contact with the object. That
perfect,
means
sir. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfectly. But you have spoken in less words, more meaning. It was perfect, sir. Without the physical contact, you are gaining the information. Good. Anybody else? Want to add something? Anybody else? Nobody? So let me have the brief in that. So sir has still everything, obtaining the information and the properties of object without coming into the physical contact. We are not going physically somewhere. If I want, okay, what is the, I live in Chandigarh. So what is the landmass, means how many lands are acquired by Chandigarh? If I'm not going physically each and every place, I will take a satellite image of that and I can see that. So this is, I'm not going physically, but I'm getting the information. This is the remote sensing. How these technology work, how remote sensing work, it's based on electromagnetic radiation that acquire and interpret the geospatial data and extract the information, the features as per their needs from the earth, land surface, oceans and atmosphere. So here, how we studied about different objects through radiations. We have the radiations in different wavelengths we can have, because when light falls on an object, the light reflect, emitted, or transmit. Everyone knows that, we have studied in our schooling life. So when the light falls on an object, it can radiate, emit, or absorb. So we have taken these three features and we learn about the information about the object. How we do, we will see. So the advantages of remote sensing is we can have a view of larger views. We have a larger view, not a smaller view, and we can have a repetitive look of the same area. Suppose, let me ask someone, it will be then as this. Let me see someone. Okay. Abha ma'am, can you unmute yourself? Dr. Abha Pandey. Yes. Ha, ma'am, you belong to which
Yes.
state?
Delhi.
Delhi. Okay, perfect. So ma'am belongs to Delhi, and if I want that, how Delhi looks past 10 years ago, how can I see? It's a problem. Okay, I want to see the urbanization been increasing in the past 10 years or the past 20 years. I want to see how Delhi urbanization has increased. So I can have the repetitive look of only Delhi, of the same area. I can have it. I can take a satellite image of 20 years past or 10 years past of that area today, and I can have the subtraction, image subtraction. I can see how much urbanization is there. This is one of the advantages of using remote sensing. And the foremost is we can have a broader view at the one go. So the elements involved in remote sensing are, you can see the first element, the sun, or any illumination. Illumination means the light energy source should be there, because we can see when light emits on the object. So same as the satellite or the interceptor can also see when some light is being fallen on the object. How it does, the light falls on an object, then it have the interaction with the object, the light has the interaction with the object, then the light is being transmitted back. These sensors are there, they record or capture that transmission. Then they send to the transmission station, and then we have the transmission station here. Then we interpret that data, we analyze that data, and then we put that data analysis. When we do the data analysis, do the classification and anything, then we generate knowledge from that. And then after generating that knowledge, we put it into an application. So same here, these whole process move on for either of the area you can see. We worked on soil. We have the how to detect the soil moistures. We have shown everything. Nowadays, I'm working on the moistures. So different things we can move on with this point of view. We have worked on the vegetation. So that was also, we can see an example of vegetation I have put on the slide. You can have the view. So there are two sensors, active and passive sensors. Why I have told about these sensors? Because these are the different sensors, or you can say there are different satellite from which where we can get the information. They don't have their illumination in their cell. They work on the sunlight data. But in the active sensors, that are radar or lidar, they have their own light. The sensors have an illumination in themselves only. Satellite images. So satellite images, we have seen that it gives have a broad view, and we can monitor global weather, study the climate change, observe the environment. So these okay. Someone can tell me some of the advantages of satellite image and disadvantages. Any one or two? Till then we have worked on the remote sensing part also, and here I have used 1 and 2 keywords more likely. So anybody can tell me what is the advantages of satellite image? The most is most important point.
Hello, Ms.
And
Asis ma'am. Hello.
yes.
Uh, we can predict the weather using
Okay.
satellite image,
Okay,
and
good.
one of the disadvantages is its bandwidth. I think which is harmful to the nature.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, ma'am, I would like to quote another disadvantage, stating
Mhm.
that the satellite access to any remote area is not going to secure the country's confidential information. So
Yes.
the intruders can enter into the region, and they can create some kind of panic situation if at all, if permits.
Yes. Perfect. Anybody else? Some ma'am was also asking to say something. Ma'am, you can continue.
Satellite images are actually remote images, and this is the advantage of it. You can reach without going their place,
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
this is an disadvantage also of it,
Yes,
that
perfect.
you are viewing it from there, from remote area.
Yes. Means this was also a very good point. I can add on this. Ki, okay, you are having a satellite image. You were studying. You were having the analysis of that. But without ground truth verification, you cannot say anything about that. So ground truth verification means you are going personally seeing things and then concluding it. So it's like that. So here are the some of the advantages and disadvantages which I have quoted. It can be more also. The most one is that it covers the large area. We can get a one glow idea of an image on a broader area. Cost effective is also there, because the satellite images, some of the satellite images, not all, are free to access. I will be showing one or two of the sites. You can go and have the data set from there also. And disadvantages, we need ground truth verification. Without ground truth verification, I will tell you, when we have taken the satellite image, I will not tell you where, from which location I have worked on. You have to guess. When I will show you the satellite image, you guess it. Okay. So what we have done, we have done the ground verification. We have taken the ground sample from the river Ganga. We went there. We have taken that. Then we cross validate our data. Okay, what we get from the remote sensing and what we get. Then we can validate our data. So validation, verification is needed. And it's not best tool for small areas. If you are working on the larger area, then remote sensing is good. So the applications, some of the applications I want to know from you all, because this is very uprooting, or it's growing very fast, remote sensing in different field. So the application you should know before moving on further. So any of the application which you like to tell me or share with us? And I
For
think the
crop
yes,
crop recommendation system or crop yield predictions.
good. Anybody else? Ma'am has told about the crop yielding system. We are also using that. Good. Anybody
Ma'am,
else?
flood susceptibility zone mapping, then
Please
landslide,
pardon, sir. Your voice is low.
flood susceptibility zone mapping,
Okay.
landslide susceptibility,
Anybody else?
Flood detection.
Flood detection. Good.
It is used extensively in site investigation for dams.
Good. Anybody else? Very active participation of you all. I thank you everyone who are answering and those who are willing to answer. It's very good, because without your interaction and having taken the virtual class, it's like that I am speaking. When you speak, okay, the participants are listening. It's give a plus booster for me to have more energy to uh, give you. Anybody else? Okay, I have got much of the more points which I have quoted. You can see that also, and which we are using remote sensing. I think some have told about this also. So when we update the roadmaps, having the urbanization, transportation, in agriculture, someone has told us the crop health or crop yield. So these are it. precision agriculture is also booming topic. So different things, yield estimation, some has told us right now, forest application or dam area investigation, natural resource management also. In that we have the pest, the disease outbreaks, how it outbreaks, the lake monitoring, in geology, national security. No one questioned about this. Okay, we also came to know about the weapons monitoring using remote sensing. I was expecting that someone of you will be saying about this also. So meteorological application that has been widely used. We came to know that what will be the weather forecasting also, exploration of new terrestrial body. So these are the different applications we can apply remote sensing. So there are different types of satellites. The major two satellites are geostationary satellites and the polar operating satellites. We will go into deeper, but we should know what is geostationary satellite. It is the satellite which revolves in the same direction as the Earth rotates. How it works? It rotates as the Earth rotates. Next is the polar orbit. How it does? It's move on the poles of the body. As its name is polar orbiting satellites, so it passes above or nearly above between the both poles. Okay, I'm skipping this. We have seen who are using the. We have seen where it is being used, but who can use remote sensing? The foremost are the researcher who can use. I, as a researcher, I am using it. So I can show you that different researcher, the geographical, the forester, environmentalist, geologist, farmer, these different peoples are using this in different ways. So this is the principle behind remote sensing. That this is the most important part of this, how it actually works. What it does, I have already told, electromagnetic energy. It's called electromagnetic energy. Some energy reaches to the Earth's surface from the sun and it's reflected, transmitted or absorbed. You can see here in the picture, this is a plant, study of plant. The sun rays are coming, some are being reflected, some are being transmitted and some are being absorbed. So by this, we can conclude something. How we can conclude? I will be showing in the next slide. So it can be used in soils of different types, water with varying degree of impurities, as I have worked, and vegetations of various species. So what are the visible spectra? If I talk about the visible spectrum, what is the visible spectra in which we can see? Anybody? The eyes can see in the visible which range? Let me show you the range first. So this already knows that there is a waves in between two waves. It's called one wavelength, and the downward it's called the trough, and the upward is called the crest. Okay. This is the spectrum. So what is the visible light spectrum? In which our eye can see. It's a physics question of I think in class 11th or 10th we have studied. Anybody can recall in which nanometer we can see? Anybody in the group? Can volunteer yourself?
Hello. Ma'am, yes. It's 400 to 700 nanometer.
Okay, your good name?
It's Aparna.
Okay, Aparna, very good.
Thank you.
She has answered correctly, ma'am. It's into 4 nanometer to 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer, or 0.4 micrometer to 7, as you can say. But just 400 nanometer to 700, in which our eyes can see. But beyond the eyes, yes.
Ma'am, sorry to disturb. Yes. Whether it is a 400 to 790 or 400 to 700, ma'am?
So 700.
700. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's the visible light is 400 to 700. We can see.
Okay. Okay.
But beyond this, there are ultraviolet region, X-rays, gamma rays, infrared. So when we talk about the remote sensing, we studied this whole area. We go on to the ultraviolet region also, we go to the infrared region also. When I have studied about the water, the main spectrum which I got was in the infrared and in the visible spectrum for the water. But for the vegetation, it can change. So let us see. We have this. This is one example of make you understand how does it works. There are different spectra. You can see some blue light is being scattered from here, green here, red here. Near infrared region means this region. It's not whole infrared, it's half the infrared.
Correct.
So near infrared region. So that's not. Someone wants to say something?
No, no, correct.
Okay. So different spectra we are getting. So how we have to identify that, okay, this plant is healthy or this plant is sick or this plant is dead. How we can classify this? So based on the spectra, you can see if the spectra is like this, NIR is higher, then all the three we say that, okay, this is the healthy leaf. How we came to know that? We have cross-verified this by taking a leaf of healthy and taking the spectra of that, and then we have verified, okay, the healthy leaf spectra is like this. So if we get any spectra from the remote sensing like this, it will be in healthy leaf. Every object have their unique spectra. No two spectra can be same. It's a universal truth that every object will be having their unique spectra. So if this NIR range is approximately or nearby the green, we will say it's a sick leaf. And if all are in the align in the same, we will say it's a dead leaf. So that's how we do the classification basis on the electromagnetic spectrum. Hope this example was clear and you are having an interest, okay, how does it works? I want to have the basic for you. You have the knowledge for that. Then I should jump onto the big. Otherwise, everything will be bouncing back. There are different spectral resolutions. Now, please mute yourself. Someone might have opened.
Yeah, ma'am. I have one clarifications regarding NIR region. Either NIR region having again the different categories.
Yes. Please pardon your
because
question.
now visible you said so in the visible we have RGB, right? So
Yes,
similarly there are in the NIR region again there are any subcategories.
No, there is not any as such subcategory. We define it into 780 nanometer to 2500 nanometer. Means it's have, if we are talking about NIR region, we divide it into 700 or you can start that it's end between 700, but it's sir has asked me that a visible region, so we go nearly about 780 to 790. If we are talking about visible, we can see that. But in the NIR region, we start from 780 to 2500 nanometer. That regions come into the NIR region. We does not divide into RGB like.
My point is not that because now you said visible range, so there are categories we have RGB portions we have.
No, in NIR we don't have this color distribution, sir.
No, madam. So whereas in the RGB, so we have wavelength combination. Similarly, whereas in the NIR, so is there any wavelength combination like NIR, SWIR, in near infrared, short wave infrared?
Yes, sir. There is also.
That's what.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So here, if we have higher spectral resolution, then we have better ability to exploit differences in spectral signatures. Means higher the resolutions, higher we can get the differences, small differences in between. So there are different types of spectral images, that is panchromatic, multispectral, and hyperspectral. Nowadays, more famous is hyperspectral, then comes to the drone based, in which we can get the more clear image. But hyperspectral images are mostly costly than multispectral. So what are the different images we will see? Panchromatic is like that black and white, the different shades of grades like that. In multispectral, we have different bands. It's not like we have big bands. It's mostly, if we talk about Landsat 8, it have 8 bands. So different bands are there. In hyperspectral, we have hundreds of spectral bands. If we talk about the hyperspectral, we have hundreds of bands. You can see with this example like this. If we talk about the multispectral, we have limited bands. The ranges, if we divide the ranges, we have band 1, band 2. In the different ranges, we have talking about 450 nanometer to 520 nanometer. Then we are going to the band 1. In hyperspectral, these bands have divided into finer parts, in finer resolution to get the more accurate information. If we talk about the panachromatic images, or the you will see like this. It's a black and white. If we go for the multi-band images, if we are involving 3 colors like this, you can see different colors, band 1, band 2, band 3. It will getting like images like this. So there are different band images we are getting. This is a source information from ISRO presentation. So how you can get the information, data on which you can perform. Let me take the arrow. Wait a second. Let me open it. This is an Earth Explorer site. It's of UGS.government. If you open this, you will get like this. Let me log in myself. Anybody can create this login.